Welcome to Math with Mrs. Cox. We're on Chapter 9, Lesson 9, page 663 in your math books. In this chapter, we're going to be estimating sums and differences, which means we're going to kind of be estimating what the answer may be with fractions. Let's begin. Lucida and Alexis went scuba diving for 7 1/3 hours. The next day, they went scuba diving for 4 2/3 hours. That means that's our treasure chest. Life is going to be a little bit easier. How many hours did they scuba dive altogether? So we need to estimate 7 1/3 and 4 2/3. So let's begin. So 7 1/3 rounds to 7 because a third is a less than a half. So 7 1/3 rounds down to 7. And 2/3 is greater than a half, so 4 2/3 rounds up to 5. So it will be about 12 hours scuba diving. One sea anemone is 3 1/4 feet across, while a second sea anemone is 5 3/4 feet across. About how much longer is the second anemone? So here we have the first one and the second one. And about tells us we estimate. How much longer tells us it's subtraction. Round the mixed number to the nearest whole number. Mixed number means we have a whole number and a fraction in it. So 3/4 is greater than a half, so 5 3/4 rounds up to 6. A fourth is less than a half, so 3 1/4 round down to 3. And what they're meaning to tell you is that if you were to look at it on a number line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1/4 is right there, 1/2 would be right there, and 1 whole would be right there. So right here, 1/4 is less than a half, so that's why it would round down to 3. So 6 minus 3 is about 3. So the answer is about 3. The second anemone is about 3 feet longer than the first anemone. Estimate by rounding each mixed number to the nearest whole number. That means we're talking about the whole number, and the fraction is going to determine. So back in the day when we estimated, we would have a target number, and then this would determine what the target number does. Very similar to this. So thinking about 1/8, is that going to make 2 stay the same, or is it going to round up to 3 or stay down to 2? You're right. 1/8 isn't very big, so it's going to keep it at a 2. And here's our target number. This is going to determine what happens to our target number. 5/8. Ooh, if we have a number line of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Half is about right there. 1. That's the next number. So is it closer to a half? Is it closer to 0? You're right. It's over half, so 5/8 is going to round 3 up to 4. Then we take a look at our sign, because they're going to change just about every problem, and it is a plus. So 2 plus 4 equals 6. Okay, next one. Look at the sign. It is a negative, so let's make sure we keep that in mind. So we have 5 2/9. Well, I think that's going to keep it as a 5 because 2/9 is very little, only 2 out of 9. And then 3 2/3, so that's a little bit different. So we have 1, 2, 3. So we have 2 out of 3. That is definitely more to the middle, about halfway. So I would say that's going to bump that 3 up to a 4. So we have 5 minus 4 is about, or is 1. Okay, notice the sign on this one. It's a plus. Bring the plus down. Okay, look at the whole number. Here's our target number. That's determining what our target number does. Is the 3/5 going to make the 3 stay the same or bump up to 4? Let's think about it. About half of 5 is 2.5. Is 3 greater than 2.5? Then it's going to make the number 3 go up to 4. Now let's look at this target number. What is 1/5 going to do to that? Yep, you're right. 1/5 is quite a bit less than halfway through. So it's going to keep it at a 1. And if you're confused, you can do it on a number line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be a whole number. This is about a half, and that is 0. And there is 1/5. So it is closer to 0, so it's going to keep that number at a 1. So 4 plus 1 is going to equal 5. Okay, let's look at our instructions. Estimate by rounding each mixed number to the nearest whole number. Okay, looks like they want us to possibly stack them as well. So here's our target. What is 2/3 going to do? That's right. If we had a number line, 1, 2, 3, this would be a whole number. This would be about half right here, and that's less than half. So it's going to keep it at a 7. So the sign is a subtraction, and 4 1/4 is going to keep it at a 4. So we have 7 minus 4 equals, whoop, I totally made a mistake. Okay, so the 2/3, let me try that again. Okay, here we have our target number. 2/3 looks like this with a 0, 1. There's 2/3, 3. 1, 2, 3. So this is definitely over the halfway line. So that's going to bump that 7 up to an 8. Looking right here, there's our target number, and a 1/4 is going to be quite a bit less than a half. So it's going to be minus 4. So we have 8 minus 4 is 4. Number 5. Here we go. Looking at our target number, this is going to determine what happens. 1/3, let's see, 1 is definitely less than half of 3. Half would be 1.5, and that's less than, so that's going to keep it at a 5. The sign is a plus. Bring the sign down. Ooh, 7/9. 7 is definitely over the halfway mark. So that's going to bump it up to a 4. So we have 5.4 is going to be 13. Okay, number 6. We have 9 1/7. Well, there's only 1 out of 7, so I know that's going to keep that at a 9. My sign is subtraction. Okay, looking at this 5, that's the target number. And that fraction is almost a whole number. 6/7 is almost a whole number, so that's going to bump that 5 up to a 6. So we have 9 minus 6, and that's going to equal 3. Okay, looking at number 7, we need to estimate 6 7/10. This is our target number. 7/10 is going to determine if it goes up or down. Let's look at the top numerator. 7 is definitely greater than the halfway mark. The halfway mark would be 5. So 7 is going to bump the 6 up to a 7. Okay, our sign is a subtraction. Okay, look at 1 1/5. Oh, that's definitely going to keep it at a 1. So we have 7 minus 1 is going to equal 6. Okay, estimating fractions. Here's our target. That is almost a whole number, so that's going to bump that 8 up to a beautiful 9. There is our sign. Bring it down. Okay, look at our target right here. 1/3. Well, if I did a number line, 1, 2, 3. And that would land right there, and that's not even close to half. So that's going to keep the 4 at a 4. So we have 9. 9 plus 4 is going to equal 13. Okay, number 9. Here is our target number. 3/7. Ooh, that's pretty close. I know that half of 7 would be 3.5. And that 3 is just underneath that. So it's going to keep that 15 out of 15. Our sign is a subtraction. And then we have 3. We have 4/7. Now half of 7 is about 3.5. And I know that 4 is just over that halfway mark. It's a little bit greater than that. So that's going to bump this number up to the next whole number, which would be 4. So we have 15 minus 4 is going to equal 11. Number 10. 10 and 2/7. Okay, here's our target number. Here's what's going to be determined. 2 out of 7. That is definitely less than half. So that 10 is going to stay the same. Our sign is addition. And okay, here is our next target number is 7. 5/7. Let me think. Half of 7 is 3.5. And that 5 is greater than, so it's going to definitely bump it up to the next whole number. So it will be 10 plus 8, and that'll equal 18. Number 11, remember we're estimating the whole number. Here's our target. And that fraction is going to determine what our target does. Now let's think about this. Half of 11 is about 5.5. Ooh, that 4 is less than that. So I'm going to say that it's going to keep the 13 out of 13. Our sign is a minus. Okay, our target number is a 4, and a 4th is definitely less than half. So it's going to keep that 4 out of 4. So we're going to have 13 minus 4, and that's going to equal 9. Number 12. Our target number is a 12. Ironic. Okay, 7/10. Well, half of 10 is 5, and 7 is greater than 5, so it's going to bump that whole number up to a 13. Our sign is a plus sign. This target number is a 9. Okay, half of 5 is 2.5, and this number is greater, so it's gonna, that 3 is going to bump the whole number up to a 10. So we're going to have 23 as our estimation. Number 13, target number right here. Okay, half of 7 is 3.5, and that number is less than half. So it's going to keep the target number, which is 19, at a 19. Our sign is a plus. And look at this. There isn't a whole number, but it is just a little bit behind a whole number. So I'm going to say 13/14 is going to round up to one whole number. And it's just going to be a 1. So 19 plus 1 equals 20. Number 14. Our target number is 7. This fraction is going to determine what happens. 7/9 is almost a whole number. Half of 9 would be 4.5. And 7 is definitely greater than that. So it's going to bump that up to the next whole number, which is 8. Our sign is a minus. This target is a 1, 5/18. Well, half of 18 is a 9, and 5 is quite a bit less than that. So I'm going to say that it's going to stay at a 1. And then we have 8 minus 1 as our estimated equation, and our answer is going to be 7. Number 15, we have 9/16. So half of 16 would be about an 8. And that 9 is over that halfway mark. So it's going to bump that number up to the nearest whole number, which would be a lonely little 1. Here's our target number here. This fraction is going to determine what happens. Half of 8 is 4. And that 5 is greater than 4. So it's going to bump our whole number up to 17. 1 plus 17 is 18. Okay, We need to figure out if they're adding or subtracting. Let's begin. Number 16, Liam spent 1 3/4 of an hour playing board games and 2 1/4 hours watching a movie. About means we can estimate how much time did Liam spend all together on these two activities. Round each mixed number to the nearest whole number. Okay, so I believe it's adding because they want to know about how much time all together. Okay, 1 3/4. So the 3/4 is going to make it really close to another whole number. So I'm going to say 1 3/4 rounds to 2. And 2 1/4 is going to be bumped down to 2. So I'm going to say about 4 hours together. So we have 2 plus 2 equals 4 hours. Number 17. Beth walked 10 7/8 of a miles 1 week. She walked 2 1/4 fewer miles the following week. About how many miles did she walk the second week? Round each mixed number to the nearest whole number. So fewer usually means subtraction. So 10, we have 10 7/8, but remember we get to round them, and 2 1/4. Okay, 10 7/8, I think we'll round up to 11 because 7/8 is really close to another whole number. And 2 1/4 is going to round down to 2. So I'm going to have 11 minus 2, which is going to equal 9. So I'm going to say 9 miles. Patrick played a guitar for 3 5/6 years. Jen played a guitar for 6 1/12 years. Estimate how many more years Jen has played guitar than Patrick. Round the mixed number to the nearest whole number. So estimating. Okay, so this is a subtraction because we are comparing how many more years Jen had. So Jen's going to go first at 6 1/12, and then Patrick at 3 5/6. Now remember, we get to estimate. Happy day, right? So 6 1/12, that's not very much. So I'm going to say it's going to round to a 6. However, 5/6 is really close to a whole number, so I think that's going to bump that 3 up to a 4. And we are subtracting because we need to know how many more years. So 6 minus 4 is 2. So it's going to be about 2 years. All right, we are actually going to go ahead and cross off 19 and 20 because we've got other things to do today. Thank you for your time.